Boxing King Media in association with boxer Frazer Clarke, just after Christmas back in the gym. So I've got to ask you, first of all, Frazer, how was Christmas for you?
Yeah, fantastic. I had a lovely couple of days with the family. Obviously, we left here on the Friday, the last session, Christmas Eve. Then, obviously we had Christmas Day. I was back in here Boxing Day actually. So, it was a nice time, nice little break. I think I'm becoming. Oh, everyone always tells me, on all the comments and all these interviews that I'm an old man. I think I'm getting old. You know what? I'm a bit of a bar humbug, but I've got to try and snap out of it now because it's not about me anymore. It's about the kids. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it.
You kept your weight down?
Yeah. I'm exactly the same. Still bringing it down for the next fight, but yeah, I did everything good. To be fair, I had a big Christmas dinner. Don't get me wrong, but stayed away from all the little treats.
It's the best part of being a heavyweight. So just quickly reviewing your first year as a professional boxer, you've had 4 fights, 3 knockouts. Are you happy with the way it's gone, or would you prefer having an extra fight or whatever?
I mean, considering I had the hand injury, I broke my hand, after my debut. My plan was for 5 this year. We also had 5. I think Caroline's had 5 this year, so I wanted 5 as well. Obviously, there was like 16 weeks out before I could get going again. Then, even when I took the fight in Bournemouth in the summer, I was still nursing a bad hand. Managed to come through that, and then I was still nursing it, still getting it better. But the first year as a whole, very interesting. I've learned a lot about the game, the pro game. You think you know a lot, because I was surrounded by it, but when you're actually in it, you learn a lot more. I'm happy with the way I'm developing. I come out of the Olympics with this pedigree and this reputation. I soon realised, it was time to go back to school and learn again. I'm far from the finished article. I've got loads to work on. If I want to get to where I want to get to, I have huge ambitions. But I know that all starts, and it's all based on working here in this gym and doing the right things and living the right life. So I'd say, for me, the first year has gone great. I'm not sure what it looks like to everyone else. I might not set the world on fire, but I've won. I think I've won well. I've showed my pedigree in my style and the way I box. I know what I'm doing, but there's so much to improve on, and I understand that. And going forward, I think it's my job, my management's job, my promotion's job to all do better. We should all do better to project me and to boost my career, go the way we want it to go.
You said you picked up some good things and some bad things about pro boxing. What's probably been the biggest negative you've picked up about pro boxing?
I mean, it's nothing that I didn't already know. You're in the limelight a lot more. Obviously, I used to travel the world and box all the time, and I used to box really good kids. No one would really give a shit or have an opinion about it. And now I'm boxing not so good kids, and everyone's got an opinion about it. So I think you have to just grow some thick skin. But then it's the business side of things as well. All I've been used to in my life is worrying about turning up at an airport, getting on a plane and going to fight. And now, people come to me with, there's this opponent, but there's this problem, there's this opponent, this guy wants too much money. Then they're problems that I shouldn't have to worry about. And this is why I have management, this is why I have promoter. So this is all on them. So next year, I'm going to sit back and do my work in here. Everything else is going to be left to the people that are paid to do. And my management do a fantastic job. They're on my right hand. Will and the guys at 258. I couldn't be more appreciative of what they've done for me this year, because I was a bit naive coming into pro boxing. You have to become a professional. I've said this loads of times, loads of interviews, but you have to become a businessman. All of a sudden, you're in touch with your accountant every other week. You're worrying about tax bills, VAT bills, and these are all things this is naive as a 30-year-old man, 31-year-old man. This is naive to only just be worrying about that. But I've boxed for the country, and I never had to worry about them things. You know what I mean? So it's all learning in boxing, it's all learning in life. But I can't say that I'm not enjoying it, because I'm just adding more strings to my bow. And I'm enjoying doing it.
That's a good insight for any upcoming boxers wanting to turn pro, because it's not as simple as it may look on the outside.
Yeah, just why you say that. I mean, I think for any up-and-coming people turning pro, there's no mistake that I've always took a captain's role in whatever I do. But anyone that wants a conversation, get at me, because it isn't all it's made out to be. It's not what it says on the tin, do you know what I mean? So I think, you know, anyone that is looking to do that needs to speak to the right people, not people that are going to try and earn a few quid off you, people that are in the game and people that, you know, actually can tell you firsthand that it's not a walk in the park. And that's without the fighting, which is the hard bit, which is the bit you have to get right. There's so much more to it, because you can end up, before you know it, you put all your eggs into the basket of, I'm going to be a professional boxer and I'm going to fight on TV, and you got nothing to show for it. Do you know what I mean? I'm one of the lucky ones. You know, I'm doing okay out of boxing. It's opened a lot of doors for me. I'm doing other things in my own community with Sky and Boxer, as everyone can see. But yeah, just a little one to anyone wanting to turn pro. Just be patient and speak to the right people, because the good people are about.
Definitely, and not everyone gets a big signing on fee, as you know, Eddie Hearn said numerous times about yourself.
Eddie loves to tell people about my financials, doesn't he? I don't know why, do you know what I mean? Because he was one of the first people to say to me, do you know what, congratulations and well done, which I respected him for. But then I didn't like him, you know, going and telling everyone that I got this and that. But at the end of the day, I had goals when I left the amateur scene. I was on it for a long time. I've got 2 kids. I wanted to be able to provide for them. I wanted to look after my mum, my dad, which I was able to do. You know, there's a few people I had to look after that have always looked after me. And you know, with what I'd worked for years to get, and what no one thought I would get in Tokyo, I managed to put myself in a position to go and do that. So anyone that begrudges me that, that's up to them. But you know, I can honestly sit here and say everything that I've got so far, I spent 10 years serving the country, working for it. So, you know, I'll not have it off no one that I didn't deserve it, because I did, and more.
I wouldn't complain with that either, Fraze. One of the things I want to speak to you about today is, one of the main reasons I've come down today as well is, obviously you saw the interview I did with Dominic Ingle the other day, and it wasn't just Dominic. Other people have said similar sort of things in interviews before. So before I speak about your relationship with Angel, I just want to ask you, like, kind of clarify this bit. Obviously you signed 25-8. Was picking Angel as your trainer, was that part of like any deal, or did you pick Angel because you felt he was the right man for you?
It had nothing to do with them, and that's God's honest truth. People think, you know...
That's the assumption, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it's the assumption. People think that this was put on by, you know, Big Josh has told me to come down here, or the management told me to come down here. The reason I actually started training with Angel was the year of the pandemic and lockdown. It was around Christmas time, 2020, I believe. It was coming up to Christmas. We were stuck. Was it Christmas? We were stuck at home. Anyway, we was in lockdown. Was at home. Couldn't go up to Sheffield and train in GB. Being in the university, there was special restrictions here, so you know they could do certain training and whatnot. And yeah, I broke the rules, guys. Yeah, I did a little bit of breaking the rules now and then. Because I wasn't getting what I needed at home. I had a punch bag in the garage, had a watt bike, squat rack. Yeah, I was struggling for motivation. I was drinking a lot at home, which is something that I never did. Eating a lot of bad foods, and lockdown did really bad things for me. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go down the route of the mental health, because I was very lucky. You know, me and my partner had some great times, and we had our family live next door as well. So you know, we was better than a lot of people. But I seen that Angel was in here, so I sort of heard through the grapevine, and this is only like 30-40 minutes away from my house. So then as restrictions started easing, it was coming up to Christmas time. Always a time of the year, a struggle for me, always has been. This is the first year in 10 years I've got it right, believe it or not. My head will fit in the screen on this. In years gone by, my head won't even fit in the screen now, do you know what I mean? And I come here out of shape, and I said, Angel, like, you know, you're down the road, do you mind if I come and, you know, just join in a couple of the sessions? You're training Rich, he's a cruiserweight. Maybe in a couple of weeks I'll be able to move around with him even, because I'm not in shape now, but, you know, if you can just help me. He said, no problem, you know, drop in once a week, twice a week, which I was doing. And it just broke things up for me, you know. I was at Sheffield for a long time, so just to come somewhere local and have a different outlook on things, a different approach, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed seeing Richard train the way he trained, and fantastic university, fantastic facilities. So I thought I really enjoyed it. And then it was then obviously one thing's led to another. We've gone to the Olympics and whatnot, and we come back, and then you have all this. All of a sudden, you've got all these decisions to make. You're going to turn professional. It's inevitable. Where you're going to train, who you're going to train with, who's going to be your management, who's going to, do this, who's going to do that, who you going to go. So I went and did all the meetings like everyone knows. At the same time, I wanted to maintain my fitness, so I was nipping to Sheffield as well. I was doing some in Sheffield still with my old coaches, Robert Kraken, Richie Woodall, Lee Pullen, Dave Alloway, still ticking over there, doing a bit of sparring even after the Olympics. I think probably as quick as 4 weeks after I was back in that gym at Sheffield, just because I know myself and I know once the momentum goes, I can go too far the other way. So I wanted to keep on top of it. And then I come here again. I started coming here with Angel, doing a bit of Richard. And I was really enjoying it, and I felt like I was learning something, you know. I could see things changing and whatnot. And the facilities at Loughborough University, let me tell you, like, they're probably some of the best in the country. And then I slowly started working with a guy called Chris Bird on the strength and conditioning side. I really enjoyed that. But in actual fact, this place was at first was not an option because it was too close to home, and I know that can sometimes become a problem in the sense of you go to camp, you're not actually in camp because if you wanted to, you could commute. So I said to the family and the missus and that, I said, look, no, we've got a newborn. I said, but I need to go away, take myself away because I can't do things properly from here because, you know, there's too many distractions. And in a nice way, got a newborn, got my daughter. Obviously, a lot of pressure on you, but I don't want to have to become back. I need to concentrate on my boxing, you know, our future and everything else. But then after doing a little bit here, and then I got introduced to the hotel around the corner, the EAC, Altitude Hotel. And I seen that they had a nutritionist there who cooked the food, and the food was good, and my weight was coming down, I was getting fitter. And I just thought, if I can be really disciplined with this, I can make this place work. I'm really enjoying working with Angel. I feel like I'm improving. He's got a new outlook on things, which, not that my old outlook was bad, because I was learning great things with the guys at Sheffield, but I was learning new things. He sort of, you know, stripped me back and told me, you know, we need to work on your basics, your fundamentals. And I wasn't used to hearing that, obviously coming from Olympic medalist position to coming back and hearing you need to work on it. It was quite refreshing. You know, he was young, he was enthusiastic about training. I liked that he didn't meddle too much on the social media. You know, I think he was just keeping himself to himself, and I seen Richard progressing over the course of about a year. So we started forming a good relationship, and then it just sort of fell into place. You know what I mean? We sort of had this relationship and was training, and maybe, you know, there'll be people saying you're naive to not go around and try other trainers. Even though I did, I went up Tony Sims for a little bit. Really enjoyed it there. Known Tony a long time. You know, a great setup. I thought that gym was fantastic. Good energy, good people, and a very experienced coach. I would have liked to have gone. I would have liked to go and spent some time with Shane McGuigan. You know, probably not. I don't regret being with Angel, but I regret not broadening my experiences. Shane McGuigan, Ben Davidson, Mark Tibbs. I'm a big fan of Mark Tibbs. Very old school trainer. Says it how it is. I love that about him. I love his methods, the old school way. But there was no denying that I was learning a lot at Loughborough with Angel, and I was enjoying the facilities, fantastic facilities. I was doing great work with the strength trainer, and I'd done a bit over the years, obviously, so I know what's proper and what's sort of, you know, bullshit. And Chris Bird, fantastic, you know, one of the best at what he does. So yeah, I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna try and establish a relationship with the hotel, which I did. You know, really good people. It's away from home. It's comfy, as in it's cleanly. I'm having good food cooked for me. I've got the strength and conditioning down to a T. I spoke to a woman called Jo and Rich. They're sort of in charge. I spoke to them. I established a really good relationship. But they sort of took me in. Do you know what I mean? They really opened the doors to Loughborough University to me. And the main thing is always the boxing, obviously. But you know, like I say, I was improving, so I was enjoying it. Me and Angel at that point got on. Now, you know, we have a lot of we have this relationship. You know, as a trainer and a fighter, it's what you need. You know, we can have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a joke, but then when it's time to get down to business, he has no qualms in telling me when I'm shit, and he very rarely tells me that I'm good. But I like it, keeps me on my toes, makes me feel like, you know, I come in here, try to impress, try to do as I'm told. And you know, like I say, his youth, his enthusiasm, don't get me wrong, there's experience is always a massive thing to me in boxing. Do you know what I mean?
That's one of the things, that was actually my next question. So what do you say about the experience side of it? Because that's one of the things a lot of people have questioned about him.
Yeah, I mean that. Unfortunately, it's the one thing you can't buy, you can't get overnight. It comes with time, don't it? You know, and all them trainers that I spoke about, they have that probably just because they've started a little bit longer than him. But I don't begrudge you for it. Like I say, I'm old enough and wise enough, I feel like, to know the difference between a con man and someone who's actually taking it serious. I see how much time he invests in it. And he's going to just like everyone else who I've mentioned. He's going to get experience as he goes like them. And like I say, this man is a man that studies the game. This isn't a part-time job or a hobby for him. This is a man that lives it and breathes it. This is a man that I have to say, bloody hell, mate, gives a rest. You know, gives a rest. Watch this documentary. Watch that documentary. Look at the way this guy fights. Look at the way that guy fights. And I know that's not on the job learning. But if you can't do that, we can't reverse time, and we can't make him be a trainer 10 years ago. He's here, he's now, he's present, and he's doing everything he can to improve himself every day. He's not too concerned about anyone else. He's concerned about his fighters, me, Richard Riakporhe, Kieran Malloy, and Anthony Joshua at the time. So I just respected that, and it was time for me to. If I was going to be here, I had to be all in. I had to be all in, trusting him, which I have done so far. I'm 4 fights unbeaten. And I feel like I'm improving, so I'm happy with it.
One of the other, I don't want to use the word misconceptions, but it's what people say online, and people have said it in interviews, you know, like a lot of old figureheads in boxing, the word yes man, kind of implying that he will just do and say as you please, or what Anthony Joshua may do or say. You kind of correct that for us.
He won't do as I say. He won't do as I please. I show up to this gym late. I show up to this gym with a bad attitude. He'll kindly tell me to fuck off, and it's as simple as that. And in fairness, it's the same with Kieran, Richard, and AJ. He wasn't a yes man to AJ. He was never a yes man to AJ. I mean, I'll put it out there now, and for those that don't know and want to know, the whole yes man thing, the Garcia thing. Robert Garcia is a fantastic trainer, no doubt, great resume. But was he employed as AJ's trainer, or was he employed to come in and shed some experience on the camp and maybe fine-tune a few things? I think that's what it was. Now, whether that's right or whether that's wrong is a whole different scenario. I'm not Anthony Joshua, so I wasn't doing the employing. But let me tell you now, for that camp, the training that was done by Angel Fernandez. And that's not because he was like, Robert Garcia, no, you're not coming in, you're not getting involved. Robert Garcia was here to add whatever he felt he needed to add to this camp. And he did that. And he wasn't held back at any point. On the night of the fight, he wasn't in the ring, was he? He was Angel in the ring. Now that's a decision that's come between them. Robert himself, but I can tell that Robert had a lot of respect for Angel in the way that he trained the fighters and his methods. So, you know, it's easy for people from outside to look in and have opinions. Obviously, when you're in here, you know what's going on, and you know, like I say, this door's open. You know, if people wanted to come in and sit and see what was going on, they could have had a look. Or no, probably been told not to actually. But what I'm saying is, it's easy to assume. I presume and I assume things from the outside. You know, that's how it goes. That's how it works. But when we're actually in here, like I say, Robert was a fantastic trainer, fantastic guy. But what Angel was doing was equally the same, or if not as good as Robert. Robert didn't have to say much. And Robert was here with the ability to say whatever he wanted. He didn't feel like he had to say much because what was happening was really good quality work.
That's the main thing I wanted to correct. And the other thing is that you will have seen this in other interviews, people using the term blowing smoke up his arse, talking about AJ. Obviously, he was part of the camp, part of the team. Where do you think comments like that come from?
Listen, Anthony Joshua is a global icon of boxing, yeah? And people will see him, big grin on his face, big smile on his face, speaks well, looks well, never really unhappy. And we'll see him just going about his business, yeah? people might think that no one's got the balls to tell him. Well, I can tell you now the rare up that I've had with him, and he won't mind me saying the rare up that I've had with him before on the side of the ring when I think he's not quite pulling his weight, and I can tell you the times he's walked past me training and told me to get my finger out because I'm not quite pulling my weight. That's happened. That does happen, and I can tell you. But that's just like gym mate to gym mate, and that's a relationship. That's a relationship I have had with him for over 10 years through an Olympic cycle. These guys were on his case, so I don't know where this thing blowing smoke up his arse. I mean, do you have to try and motivate a fighter, and do you have to try and encourage a fighter? Absolutely, of course you do. All these trainers will tell you that, but there wasn't overdoing it. There was no case of overdoing it. We hear a lot about the misinformation in the fight, don't we? You know, everyone goes on about that in the corner.
I think that's where a lot of this comes from.
Yeah, but I understand. I understand what people say in that terms. Maybe you need to read the riot act a little bit more, and saying that these rounds are very close, or you lose, or you're losing some of the rounds. You've lost the last 3 rounds or whatever. But that for that fight, until a certain stage, that was a very competitive fight. I think he took over towards the end, did Usyk. But listen, in the moment, in the heat of the moment, it's not about a coach lying or blowing smoke at his arse. It's about the coach saying what he thinks your fighter needs to hear. We can go back on record to loads of different trainers saying loads of madness in the corner. Not a dig. There's been trainers that have spoke about Angel and his way of training. I can remember once telling a fighter to fight southpaw the whole fight, and the fighter was saying he's uncomfortable fighting southpaw. We've seen other fighters under the cosh, good fighters under the cosh, and then they come out, boom, with a big shot and knock someone out. These are other people's fighters. I think as trainers, it's all right to have your opinion about other trainers, but you know what? It's one of them games you don't want to say too much because you might end up with egg in your face because you're training fighters. No one's perfect. We're all just in the game trying to improve. So I think Angel's an easy target for people because he's not got a family that's been in the game for years, or he's not got the backing of other people. We're here on our own at Loughborough. He's not got the history behind him of a gym that's been established for 30 years. So I think he's an easy target. Oh my God, this guy has been put into this position with no merits. And really and truly, you know why people are pissed? Because they wanted the coin. They wanted the coin. I don't give a shit what anyone says. People wanted the coin. And they'll come on, I'm not bothered about the coin. Fuck off. Everyone in boxing loves getting paid. Everyone loves the payday. So, they probably feel he doesn't warrant his position. But if you've seen the work he's doing, let's have it right, he didn't apply for the job. He was selected and approached for the job. What's he supposed to do? Turn it down? The opportunity?
That is key, because that's one of the things I've actually written down, because I know how their relationship came to start. It was via an agent DMing Angel. And just topping up on that as well, if Angel Fernandez just trained yourself, would I be right in saying the public limelight wouldn't be as big because it's Anthony Joshua? Every decision, everything that's been looked at is kind of been scrutinised. Would I be right in saying that?
Of course. Look at all the other trainers in the country. You look at them all. No one has, in the last year, had as much attention as him. Why? Because he's been training Anthony Joshua, and it just comes with the territory. He's had to do well to sort of deal with that. Do you know what I mean? And it is what it is. You can go on about what he's got and what he hasn't got, and who he's trained and who he hasn't trained all day. But he's a man who's in the gym every day, training fighters, trying to improve fighters, earn a living like everyone else. Get off his back. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like I say, we can go on about fantastic people, fantastic trainers have spoke about him. Do you know what I mean? Like Domingo, obviously, he had a few words to say about him, and I actually like Domingo for his straight talking. He actually said, I can remember probably 10 years ago now, I got flattened off Richard Towers in the gym in Sheffield, and I come out of the ring with an excuse. Said, "Oh, well, I've been on holiday. I offered this to Dom. I've been on holiday. I'm out of shape." And he told me some advice that stuck with me ever since. He said, "You're not a boxer, part-time here and there. If you're doing this boxing, it's a full-time thing. That advice has stuck with me for years. Fantastic advice from a man that's been there, seen it and done it. But yeah, like, you know, I think Angel is a bit of an easy target and easy talking point because it's about Joshua. Coaches make mistakes in corners every single week on that TV. Every single week on every show, big shows, small shows, people will give advice that you don't think is necessary or right. That people are allowed to make their mistakes. If you want your opinion about it, you're entitled to it.
Definitely. So, Fraser, just wrapping up on yourself, have you got a date, or do you know when we can see you back in action?
Yeah, hopefully the 21st of Jan. You know, the Eubank show. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm working hard. Once again, there's a few discrepancies over opponents. Been trying to get in touch with people for weeks now. You know, but like I say, I'm trying to this year. The next year coming up for me is time for me to sit back and concentrate on improving as a boxer. Leave that for the people that are qualified and paid to do so. But hopefully that's the card I'm going to be out on, yeah.
Somebody's bound to question me about your woolly hat that you're wearing. Is that one of them heated hats?
It's not a heated hat. Do you know what?
It looks like a button on it.
When you get a bit older, you get mad Christmas presents. You know, like no new console, no bike, no whatever TV or whatever. You get what I have. I've had a mint little present. It's like a magnifying glass you can put your phone behind. So if you're watching videos on your phone, it magnifies it and looks good. This is actually what is it now? It's a light.
Oh, right, okay. I thought it was like a heat thing.
You know, for when you're running in the dark.
Okay.
And it also, you can put a few tunes in it and bang some music out.
All right.
So now an old man, these are the kind of presents that I get. Obviously, loads of socks, boxers, you know, a couple of smellies, the usual stuff, link sets coming out my arse, but there we go.
No doubt somebody would have asked, and hopefully we've answered that question from Fraser. I appreciate your time as always, and look forward to seeing you on the Eubank Smith undercard.
No worries, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.